The following is a presentation of Playfly Sports Properties and Michigan State Sports Properties. Well, hello and good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, December 19th, 2023. Welcome to the only show about Spartan Dawgs, hosted by Spartan Dawgs. This is Sparta MSU. I am your host, Jason Strayhorn, along with my co-host, the boss, Otis Wiley, with the nice sweater, and my man, Jehuu Caulcrick, doing his thing. You know, listen, if this is your first time joining us, we want to welcome you to the show. If it's not, we appreciate your loyalty, and it means an incredibly great deal to all of us here at This is Sparta MSU. Be sure to click the like and subscribe buttons right now. I know you guys are in the chat. Got a big show, a lot of things going on here with a lot of news. Let us know where you're watching from. We're going to be watching you guys in the chat. This is live right now. So listen, guys. Big weekend, lots of things that we want to catch up on from the last show on Thursday. We did have a big commitment, but we got to cover MSU basketball, fellas. Let's talk about that. MSU gets back on track with a big victory over Baylor, 88-64 over number 6 ranked Baylor on Saturday in LCA, downtown Detroit.
Rocking. It was rocking in D-Town, man. I think there's an opportunity that, you know, I'm going to be the first to go out and say I did not believe that we were going to have that turnout as the past we've been playing, the way we've been playing. So I already told you that the way we were playing, like I just knew, like, you know, Baylor was going to come out. Now, when you look at what they played, Baylor's schedule, they haven't played top tier opponents like we have from a strength of schedule. So that 9-0 doesn't look as appeasing, but more appealing. But when they came out on firing off cylinders and everyone's clicking, I mean, you're seeing that game, the atmosphere, you know, Spartans came down. It was great that it was a 2 p.m. tip-off versus like buttoned up with the Lions because, you know, you wouldn't probably have that same atmosphere or that turnout. But a lot of people made a weekend out of it. So a lot of people love when Spartans are coming down to Detroit to show that love in the 3-1-3. So great turnout, great success of getting that win. We finally needed a big win with a ranked opponent, and we definitely owned them and the Baylor Bears.
Yeah, you know, I think I knew the turnout was going to be a good turnout. There's a lot of Spartans that are in Detroit and in the Metro Detroit area. There's a lot of them that had an opportunity maybe that wouldn't have got to go to Breslin this season for a game and was just in their backyard there. But to Otis's point, you know, it being an electric crowd, you know, the players definitely feed off that, and playing on an NBA arena on an NBA court, it's a little different for basketball players and football players. It's a little more special when you're a football player and play in an NFL stadium, because you don't get to do it as much. You don't get to play on that stage as much. It's you know, you kind of get that some when you play in a lot of these preseason tournaments with basketball and playing in the NCAA tournament, the Final Fours, playing in stadiums and with big crowds and everything. So it was something that was good, but it was really exciting that the team showed up. Pierre Brooks, he showed up. He had a big game as well, like big game for, you know, him coming and getting some minutes and starting to get acclimated, you know, with himself and learning the system, learning his body, learning how to play within, you know, at that level. So it was something that was good. It was good to see the energy that the guys were playing with. It was good to see Izzo get fired up again, play with, you know, and it was just all around good. And they were able to continue that last night.
Yeah, against Oakland. But guys, you know, talking about the Baylor game, weren't there some former players that came and gave a little pregame pep talk?
Yeah, they were in town. Mateen, you had Kelvin Tolbert, you had
Raymond Morgan,
Steve
Smith.
Yep, Steve Smith. You had Lucas. You had those guys. It's kind of getting them ready. Like, this is what football, Spartan basketball is all about. And correction, is Xavier Booker, because I think you said Pierre Brooks.
Yeah. Xavier Booker. I don't know where I'm going with it. Yeah.
Well, we talked about this. I don't know if it was last week. We are like, Xavier can give you an average of the 6 to 7 points that he did. Mm-hmm. And mid-range, it's, now he's a liability when it comes to defense. And I think that just comes with growth and being in the system, getting a full season of strength and conditioning, understanding the play, the physicality of the Big Ten. But the guard play, like, let's talk about the guard play. Like, everybody was clicking. Like, we gotta give a full out, like, this is Spartan MSU, like, star, or all, like, MVP of the game. I choose
kudos
Holloman. Kudos. Let's do it. This is Spartan MSU kudos of the game. Trey Holloman has fully evolved. He has evolved. Like, his tray ball, his 3-point shot, his facilitating. He's very confident, and you see it when he gets on the court. And I haven't said elements yet, have I? I don't know. Have I said?
You got to get the elements going, man. They need it. The people need it.
Look, I'm in my festive sweater. I'm in my elements. But yeah, that's when you have a role player like Trey coming in and just being aggressive, that allows to take the heat off of Trey or Tyson Walker, of AJ Hogarth and Jaden. That gives the pressure off. Now Jeremy Fears coming in. Jeremy Fears coming in with the outlet, the speed of the game. Like, we get the young guys getting that experience. We're going to be good down the road. But I truly was very, very, very scared on the standpoint of how we were playing. And if we would to continue this play and not be able to compete, it was going to be a long season. But they've obviously, his own magic goes back to the basics. And here he goes, shocking again. Like, don't count him out, because I truly counted. I counted out. I was counting out.
You tapped out.
I didn't tap out.
On Thursday.
We talked about it. We can't, but it was just like, I just didn't feel confident that we were playing the right play of ball of Michigan State Spartan basketball, and you showed it through and through. It was definitely a home game, clearly, being in Michigan State. But I should have took a picture of this. I need to be more involved on my phone and taking photos, but I was in the moment. But when we were on that run and I looked across the bench to the Baylor bench, I mean, it was like, why did we sign up to play here? Like, I was across from the head coach to and they were like, it was just like, man.
So, it was a rough day for him. I appreciate that, rough. Steve Smith. We back, baby. Collection plates already rolling. I mean, this is a juiced up crowd in the chat. Definitely appreciate you, Steve, on that. But guys, let's not forget the Oakland game that just happened yesterday. 79-62 win over the Oakland Bears, and Tyson Walker hits his 1,000th point.
Yeah, we can't never talk. None of us hit 1,000 points, so we don't know what that feels like.
1,000 snaps.
1,000 snaps, yeah.
Points, but, yeah. That's crazy.
Huge feat, man. For him to transfer in and get 1,000 in the green and white, very far few in between the Spartan greats that are in that lineup there of 1,000 points. We struggled a little bit with that zone. Like, Oakland came out with that zone, and you kind of like, why aren't we firing like we did against Baylor? It's like we kind of let it slowly get to going. But that's the first time seeing like the combo of the big boy. Carson Cooper finally showed himself. Like, he showed himself on the rim, protecting and putting back dunks.
Put back dunks.
And it was good to get a win, man. Rocket Watts making a homecoming again. I like the embrace of at the end of the game, which y'all saw that, and Spartan fans saw that. Just a lot of respect between Coach Izzo and Rocket. I still believe that if Rocket would have stayed, that's another guard that we would be able to have in our arsenal. But all in all, it was a good game to beat the Oakland Oakland. So I forgot the bass guy.
Golden Grizzlies.
Golden Grizzlies.
Golden Grizzlies. I call them Golden Bears. They ain't the Bears, the Grizzlies.
Golden Bears.
As they say over there, OU, oh yeah, baby.
Oh, hey, Dougie Fresh. We appreciate that for the collection plate. I can get the decoration for the walls. Thank you very much. You know, it's just it's poverty over here in the West Coast. Getting ready to move up out of here.
Tell them you're getting ready to move, man.
About the move. That's all going on, man. About the
you
move.
need to film that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Look,
right. Like don't turn the lights out here.
You had a reference. Turn the lights out, like, oh man.
Going back east, babe. Coming
Mama
closer.
Straight. Get the cinematography ready for Straight to do it.
Oh yeah, she's gonna be. But congratulations, Tyson Walker, the 54th Spartan to ever hit that 1,000 points in the green and white. This is not his overall career; it's just as a Spartan because he already hit that a year ago, the 1,000-point plateau as a career guy. But congratulations to Michigan State basketball, going from 4-5 now 6-5, and we're rolling. We're rolling right now. Speaking of basketball, we're going to go to the women's hoop. Robyn Fralick earns her 200th career victory on Sunday. And the victory, big coach right there, just coming in here. So, look, Otis, I know you know everything. Spartans offense, once again, lights out, led by Mora Joyner.
Mo Joyner.
Yeah, 27 points on her career high.
Mo's got a straight. She's got a heater, just launching and she plays a lot of defense. But
yeah,
you know, we were down 2 starters on the team, but you know, I honestly thought it would be a little bit more, I say, competitive with Coach Haney coming back home as a first head coach with Central. That was Michigan. Also Central Michigan. So that was a good embracement on that. You know, she's always a Spartan through and through. But man, we are playing on all cylinders on the offensive side. And if you haven't been able to get out there to a women's basketball game, please do. We want to make sure we're filling the seats, and it was a great atmosphere on Sunday. It's always good that men's basketball wins, Detroit Lions win, and then women's basketball win. And I know I can't throw out the Buffalo Bills blew out the Cowboys, so I gotta give you a shout out. Bills Mafia, stand up.
I mean, look, we're a multi-dimensional show here. We have people from all over the United Nations, okay? And it's part of it. So it's a family show, but we do share the wealth around here. Theron Hallack also had a fantastic night. She tied a career high with 17 points, Otis, and they have another game coming up against one of Play Fly Schools, Richmond.
Five battle.
Another
Richmond.
battle.
It's crazy. Football plays Richmond, and then women's basketball is playing Richmond. So good invitational there in Carolina. So if you get a chance, please follow them on MSUSpartans.com or MSU Spartans app if you have it. Show some support, show some love.
All day long. I mean, look, we got to show the love to all the sports, but you know the time of year it is. It's December 19th. You know what tomorrow is? It's signing day.
Early signing day. December
20th marks the time. So there's going to be a lot of letters, NLI, and this ain't NIL. This is National Letter of Intent Signing Day, which begins tomorrow. I guess it will be at like 12:01 midnight when you're allowed to submit those signings. And
that's when the coaches will be by that fax machine.
Do they still do faxes anymore? I think they just.
Was that a Barry reference? He faxed in his retirement. Was that a Barry?
No, that's what we had to do.
I know. You're right. I know you did. Well, maybe a teacher did. Who did it on your end?
Yeah, I went to the office.
Right, let the secretary do it.
Yeah, like that little.
You there?
You dial up.
The coaches be there. It's 517-355-6262. Yeah. Send it right now. Let me hear that noise. Make sure you come in here.
I mean, I think we progressed past that now. I think we have email, things like that. But
how do they send it in now? Do they email and scan it? Like sign it?
DocuSign, baby.
Is it DocuSign?
I don't know.
DocuSign it is.
It's easy. You can even scan that in now.
That's what I'm saying. Like now you can just scan with your phone and send it in. But
The technology has to catch up to the NCAA to make sure everything's official, like a referee's whistle. We're going to talk about football. We're going to talk about high school recruiting, transfer portal. And we got a special guest joining us to get deeper into that after these messages from our friends over at IHOP and SeatGeek.
IHOP and Wonka are dreaming up a magical new menu. Magnificently mouth-watering items like Wonka's perfectly purple pancakes, the fantastical Wonka burger, and of course, Hover Chalk pancake tacos. Every good thing in this world started with a dream, and now this one is a reality. Only at IHOP. Try the new Wonka menu for a limited time. Kids eat free from 4 to 10 p.m. And see Wonka, only in theaters December 15th.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception? First down? Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Well, fellas, welcome back. Let's just talk about this because we didn't get a chance to go in depth in the last show because Aiden Childs, the recruit of the hour, announced his commitment to Michigan State after we had taped the show on Thursday, so we didn't get a chance to talk about it live. We were in the chat, but let's talk about it now. So Aiden Childs, the quarterback from Oregon State, makes it known and official that he is coming indeed to East Lansing as a transfer from Oregon State. Let's talk about what you guys feel the strength of this particular signing is.
I mean, this is the bread, the butter, the nucleus of obviously a quarterback room because we've all three of them have left that are current scholarship guys that hit the portal. So, heavily leaning on getting at least this star-studded, talented QB and Aiden Childs. It's a huge, huge opportunity, huge get. Knowing that he already knows like the system. We talked about this. He knows the system, only being in it for a year, but at least you have a leg up to know like what's expected of the offense. Had an opportunity to kind of, talk to Coach Hawkins later this evening. And, it's a system that is allowed to just take a lot of shots and have fit the 6 options from an offensive standpoint to, address any blitzes or any defensive scheme. So they're going to be putting points on the board, just being aggressive, which we haven't really seen the past few years of just aggressiveness coming out, striking, not waiting for, a big play. Like we're going to be seeing a lot of big plays out of them with Aiden Childs at the helm. So this is a huge opportunity to build around the future of Aiden Childs, leading the Michigan State Spartan football team.
Yeah, this is something that's really exciting for the Spartans. If you're a Spartan fan, you should be excited about this guy because what he does, and Otis, you would know this if you game plan for a guy like this. You on defense, you truly now have to play 11-on-11 football. Because you can't just sit back and say, hey, the quarterback isn't going to be able to use his legs or he's just going to be able to scramble around. Don't misconstrue me, Spartan Nation. He could be, but Aiden Childs is type of a player, if you want to make a comparison to what his game is kind of like, is I'm not saying this at the same level, a Lamar Jackson type player where, you can do those zone reads with him, but as well as when you do those zone reads as well, and you're going out, he's going to have an option on the outside as well. If he pulls that, and he can also throw it to a receiver on the side behind the line of scrimmage there. So that goes back to my point of a defense truly playing 11-on-11 football because you have to have someone to account for the quarterback now at all times. So I think this is something that's going to be really good for the Spartan offense. And with him coming in with a year under his belt with this offense and this coaching style, he can be a coach on the field to these guys, to these receivers. He can go and, like we talked about it a little bit, he's the type of guy that can break down the offense in a way that a player can understand it, that, sometimes a coach can say it a little different than a player can understand it. So he's that type of guy that can do that for us. So Spartan Nation should be really excited about this kid coming in. He has it between the ears. He's a smart kid. He has a grasp for the offense because he did get some playing time last season in that Oregon State offense, and now he's going to come here and he's going to play at a big stage. He's going to have some familiarity with the Oregon that they played last year. It's a rivalry for them, so he understands what that means and can get the guys fired up for a game like that. So it's really exciting, and he is one of the crown jewels of this recruiting class that's coming in to be a Spartan right now. So I'm really excited about it. He's going to be on campus early enroll so he can get that winter workouts in, work with the guys, work with the players to understand, and receivers. Holy Sugar Ray Leonard, Art.
Hey, Art, the collection plate. Merry Christmas.
Holy Sugar Ray.
That's pretty good.
Oh, Lordy.
But no, he's a guy that's going to come in here. He can work with these receivers. Receivers should be excited to have a guy like this on the field with them because it's going to be such dynamic plays happening. You have guys you bring in. We're going to get into this when we talk about the running backs, the guys behind there. We're going to get the offensive line. That's going to have to go as well. We're going to take a deep, in-depth look at these things right now. But what's happening right now is a complete offense is starting to form, and they're going to have some time to gel and get that camaraderie going.
Look, straight. Before when you ask the coach, hey, how is Aiden Childs? How is he as televised, as advertised? And when you give it that look like, hey, no words say like, hey, this man's a bad man. And that's what from a coach like that's seen it all, like that man's a bad man. So we got a great one. I just give it patience, give it time, because he still's got to come in and work. Because there's obviously it's not gonna be easy, but we know that he has the repertoire, he has the talent to get us those extra yards and get us those first downs and move the chains. That's all we want to see, is moving the chains. Yeah. Progress. That's all we want to see. Go ahead, Stray. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm just saying. So what you're telling me is in those third and medium situations, they're playing man-to-man coverage. I mean, it's look out, right? Either he's going to thread the needle or he's going to use some legs, right?
Yeah.
Defenders turn their back.
What you going to call as a defensive coordinator? What you going to call?
Exactly. You can't sit back there with a spy and say just sit back and go sideline to sideline, because you're going to get left behind. So you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to figure out a way from the defensively how to bring pressure without bringing pressure, because if you bring too much pressure, you can replace, especially with the way that this offense is going to be. There's going to be a lot of, if they see pressure, boom, this guy's hot, we can replace over here. And then, so that's when the chess game comes into play. So that's going to be something that's really exciting to see with this offense and what, Childs brings to the offense and the dynamic ability that he does have.
Childs, please. It's going to be something, man. It's going to be a lot, exciting to see him come on campus. I just saw the comment there by Brandon, Aiden, and Nick talking about, Megatron. Yeah, talking about they're going to be the next Stafford and Calvin Johnson. Look, he said it.
Let's give up. I know we're going to get into it, but we're going to get into the recruiting stuff. But big shout out to Nick. He played in that All-American game last night in Dallas. He made some plays. The people kept calling him the wrong name, but Mama Tron was there to correct them.
Number 84.
He ain't come all the way down here.
Hey, Mama Tron. Let's
respect on that name.
Let's clear something up. That crowd out there, they're gonna know his name come this fall. Everybody's gonna know his name come this fall when he's in Spartan Stadium making plays and being electric. The nation is gonna know his name this fall.
No doubt about it. Before we move on to our guest, there's another question here from Dougie Fresh. He says, has Chew discussed Jonathan Kim coming back?
Jonathan Kim, you know what? Jonathan Kim is back. I had actually an in-depth conversation with Jonathan a couple of nights ago, and he's excited. He loves this team. He loves what this coaching staff is bringing. He had a really good time here last year. So yeah, Jonathan Kim, he's all in. He's good to go. He's a weapon. We saw that last year. We saw our guy Eckley, All-American. So now we need someone to coach that unit and get them to that, to where they can be.
Bring Foligno back.
Bring Foligno back.
Right. Hey, James, that was a little, but I fox too with it too. You know what I mean? I think that's what you're saying, right? Fox with it. Hey, we're all on the same page, brother. Listen, look, without further ado, we have to bring on our special guest, Spartan Illustrated, Michigan State rivals own Ryan Oblaness joins us, Sparta MSU. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Hey guys, how you doing? Glad to be here.
Good to have you, brother.
I know you guys are all legends to me. I grew up watching you, so I really appreciate you bringing me on.
Oh man, you're trying to make us feel old now.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I'm talking about high school and whatever too. For Otis, at least.
Otis is the one that's sticking out, man. That sweater is swagalicious. Listen, Ryan, I know you've been busy the last couple of days here, especially with all the new commitments and things jumping off of the paper at everyone right now. I mean, Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, is on fire. What have you been seeing, and noticing in the last 48 hours and what's going to go on into the signing day tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's been just a whirlwind. It's been crazy. I think you got to really tip your cap to what the staff's been able to do in 3 weeks. Some of these coaches have been here for less than that. So, it's really pretty amazing because not only were they able to re-recruit the current commits, keep them committed, keep them locked in to buy into the vision, they went out and they got the relationships and the commits that they already had at Oregon State, and they were able to bring in a bunch of those guys, and they were able to flip some other guys from other schools. They're bringing in some really good transfers who can be instant impact. So yeah, I mean the thing that really stood out to me talking to all these different recruits, and what it comes back to with them is just, I think, the genuineness of the staff. What you see is what you get with them. They have a vision for you, and they have a plan for it. And I think that they showed taking over that Oregon State program that was in bad shape when Smith was first hired, how they turned that into a really good program, really competitive program. So a lot of these recruits, and especially the ones who came over from Oregon State, believe that that's what they're going to do at Michigan State as well.
So, Ryan, so you said you talked to some of these recruits and, they have that sense of belief. What else, did these recruits tell you about this coaching staff? Because this coaching staff, the majority of them don't have much ties to the East Coast or Midwest. How were they sold, that Michigan State is still the place for them? And how did these coaches go out and say, hey, have faith in me, have trust in me, that I'll get you to where you want to go?
I think one thing that a lot of recruits, regardless of the program, throw out when they talk about a coaching staff is a family feeling, right? Family atmosphere, make them feel comfortable. But I think with this staff, that's what really sticks out to them because, as I mentioned, they feel it's authentic and genuine. You got two guys from Hawaii coming 4,400 miles away because they know that this staff is going to develop them on and off the field, take care of them, care about them as a person. That's, I think, really, and, all of them from the West Coast who, you mentioned that this staff didn't have a lot of Midwest ties, or East Coast or whatever it might be. But I think all of that, the fact that they are going to care about you and they're going to develop you and they have a plan for you, no matter where you come from, has a lot to do with it. And at Jonathan Smith's, intro presser afterward, there was a media scrum and he's asked about the Midwest ties thing and all of that. And he said that they're going to put an emphasis on it. The best way to recruit is to get into a car, drive within a 4-hour radius. And I mean, this staff literally did that and just attacked and built relationships in the state of Michigan and Ohio within, days, weeks. Like, already they've built these strong connections with these different high school coaches and prospects and recruits. And people, I think, know that the staff can evaluate. And then if they want you and they make you a priority and they have a vision for you, it's an easy sell for them.
Yeah, Ryan, you know, I've had I briefly met some of the staff today at our athletics Christmas party and just, you know, went up there and just said, you know, welcome to Spartan Nation, welcome to, you know, Michigan State. And we kind of talked about just, you know, the opportunity that they have. They see it, like you talked about, they see that this can be a great place, going back to our roots. Like, this place is special. You know, I was talking to the tight ends coach and he was like, you know, when I was playing at Wisconsin, it was always Wisconsin, Michigan State of just bruisers. He was like, and I was telling the staff before we were coming over here, it's like, trust me, when you get in, you're going to feel that blue collar, that brick by brick, you know, tie up your bootstraps, let's go to work. And like, you just felt that vibe talking to each of the staff. You know, what are some surprises that we may see tomorrow that I know the coaching staff has been, you know, yes, we've got our guys now committed, but what are the names out there that we're close to trying to get over to the green and white that we may expect tomorrow, or we're like, it's still a wee hour.
You're saying it's flip season? Was that what you're talking about? Flip season?
Flip season, yeah. Who are those names? What are those positions? And what are you hearing?
Yeah, you know, Francis Brew, a Pittsburgh commit. He's one who had an official visit this past week, and he's been committed to Pittsburgh for a while. The old staff had him out a couple of times, and, you know, he's shown some interest in Michigan State, and I think he's, you know, really weighing his options. I don't know which way he's leaning right now. But
man, I can only imagine
Columbus.
I can only imagine what Coach Narduzzi is saying right now.
He's calling it up with the big chew. And, you know what? I've been there. I know what they're about. I know that stadium. I know it. You want to come here? You want to play in an NFL stadium? Off campus.
You know, you guys would know better than me, but based on what I heard, that seems pretty accurate.
Absolutely.
So Francis Burrow, is that how you say it?
Burrow?
Is the defensive lineman from Columbus, Ohio that you're talking about that's currently committed to Pitt, that is on flip alert for Michigan State and their staff for Jonathan Smith tomorrow?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not making a prediction one way or the other. It's just, you know, that's a guy they'd really like to bring in who's showing interest in Michigan State, but also he's stayed true to Pitt this whole time. He's a really good player, recently mentioned 4-star on Rivals. So, you know, he's definitely somebody to watch. You know, Brady Pretzlaff from Gaylord, linebacker. He's definitely one you want to watch.
Wait a minute. Yeah, that's one of those guys right there. We saw his film.
Very, very good player who's, you know, plays up there in Gaylord, so maybe is a little underrated. You know, he told me that he plays with violence, and I think, as you mentioned earlier, this program wants to get back to those blue-collar roots, and I think he's kind of the epitome of that kind of player. You know, he'll be announcing his decision tomorrow, and, you know, he's definitely one to watch. There's always some signing day surprises. You know, you never know. I think we know pretty much everybody who's going to sign tomorrow. Like I said, there might be a couple. Tyler Cherry was a guy who they were really working on, the other quarterback. He ended up committing to Indiana today. You know, he was recently named a 4-star on Rivals as well. But
the Center Grove quarterback, right, from Indiana?
Yeah, Indiana.
Okay. So he's got a new staff as well, right? Because didn't Tom what's his name?
Tom Allen.
Tom Allen is now the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, they brought over the James Madison coach.
Yeah. So it's James Madison staff against Oregon State, and he stays there. But we got, who is it? Alessio Milivojevic. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Alessio Milivojevic.
Millie. He sent it to me phonetically, but I'm still going to mess it up. But I think it's Milivojevic. But yeah, so he's one of those guys. He was, you know, committed to a MAC school, a little flying under the radar, but, you know, just a really good player in Illinois. I think he had like 40 touchdowns compared to 4 interceptions this year, plus 9 rushing touchdowns. You know, he can run with the ball. He can bounce around in the pocket, extend plays with his feet. You know, everybody I've talked to who's a talent evaluator said this guy can flat out play. I don't know why exactly he's a little lower rated or, a little under the radar recruit. But I think he's had offers from like Nebraska, maybe Mississippi. And, he's had some other Power 5 interest. He was committed to Ball State, I believe, and, decommitted from there and, committed to Michigan State after his official visit this past weekend. But, I think with some development, he's definitely a guy that would fit in really well with, this offense that Jonathan Smith and Brian Lindgren are going to run here.
Big guy, too. This is the guy out of St. Francis in Illinois. This is 6'3", 225 pounds. So big guy, big quarterback. A little different than Aiden, who has that ability to beat you with his legs and his arm. From the things I've heard from scouts is that he's a guy who's got a big time arm and very accurate, as you said, like 40 touchdowns. So excited to see him in the green and white as well. Ryan
made a target right away.
Otis, I think they're looking for some more element from you. But if you can, we can do that. So transfer wise, we're just starting there. Jordan Turner, the linebacker from Wisconsin, coming over. I think he played his prep football in Farmington Hills, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
That's a guy, before you get into him, Ryan, that's a guy that I'm really excited about. I think he fits the mold, he fits the build of a Big Ten linebacker. He's a guy that I think he's going to come in and make an immediate impact. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
No, I think you're hitting the nail on the head there. I think he had like 135 career tackles, something like that, at Wisconsin.
Oh, geez. Yeah,
I think he was an all Big Ten selection at some point. He's definitely a guy who you can come in and plug and play right away at that linebacker spot. And as you mentioned, Farmington High, he has ties to Michigan. I think Jalen Berger was excited that he was coming over because they were former teammates. I saw him tweet some stuff out. So, that's definitely a guy that can come in and probably fit right in Joe Rossi's defense right away, probably play a lot. He seems like a tackling machine, a guy who's going to be very productive and, he's obviously going to be a new guy around here, but, eventually be somebody who can lead the defense.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying like he obviously middle linebacker, that's like he is a big time guy, but like could honestly kind of evolve to that stand up edge as well in this Rossi defense. They said he's a big human being. Like he looks the part. Wisconsin, we already know you got to be smash mouth football as a linebacker, regardless of who that coaching staff is. You always got to be a smash mouth player. Go ahead, Shu. I didn't mean to cut you. I just want to add that to it.
No, you're good. Yeah, and I totally agree with that. But let's talk about, because something that I love on the offense. I love a good tight end. I love a good tight end with a good frame tight end. That's what I like. And I think this Jack guy that we have coming in, I think he fits that bill. With Malik entering the portal, we're going to have to replace a playmaker like that. But I think this guy, this Jack, he gives me, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox kind of vibes there with that, with the Buffalo Bills, a guy that can also be in there and block, but also have really good at route running as well.
Yeah, I believe he had 8 touchdowns this past year and set the Oregon State single season record for touchdowns. So he's definitely going to be a receiving threat. And you guys were talking about Aiden Childs earlier being familiar with the offense. Well, so is Velling. That's
right.
And right away and know what he's doing. He doesn't have to start from scratch. So he's definitely going to be somebody who's kind of plug and play, probably a tight end one right away. He's going to be a threat in that receiving game. I'm interested to see what he is as a blocker. I don't quite know yet. Not saying he's bad at it. I just haven't looked enough. But I definitely know that he's going to be a really good receiver.
Well, look, if he led the NCAA, go ahead.
That's what he's about to say. I was going to say that, like, that's phenomenal.
Well, he led the NCAA for tight ends with touchdowns, right? He led all tight ends in the NCAA with touchdowns, with 8 of them.
Yeah, so he's a very good route runner, very crisp, very fluid fluid in his motion, because sometimes you get some of those big guys, those big tight ends that, kind of like lumpy down, like Gronkowski. He wasn't fluid, but he got it done. But this guy, he's very fluid in his routes, can get in and out of the breaks, very, very quick and loose hips. So that's someone that's going to be, like you said, Ryan, a guy that's a plug and play player that can come in. And you mentioned the fact with Aiden Childs coming in, and every really good quarterback, what do they have? They have a security blanket that's a tight end. You look down the line, they have that. So I think this is going to be one of Child's security blanket, and they're going to be able to know and play off each other very well.
Yeah, obviously they played with each other last year, so they already have some built-in chemistry with each other. And so that's definitely going to help too.
I mean, can we get Antonio Gates Jr. to bring Dad over and do a little workshop with him a little bit? Maybe, I don't know. I did see that he got his number retired at the Chargers Ring of Honor just recently. But, like as we digress, let's get back to Michigan State football with T.J. Sheffield, receiver from Purdue, transferring over to Michigan State, making his commitment known.
Coach Hawk got a good one on this one.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, I really like this ad. I feel like, it's a little under the radar, but he had, I think, something like 118 catches at Purdue, something like that. Very productive. And, there's a lot of balls to go around in that wide receiver room. Obviously they lost some guys in the transfer portal, and they're in need of playmakers there. I think he's, again, another guy who you can bring in right away, who's going to get some reps and going to be able to make plays. And he, I think that he's definitely going to carve out a nice little role at Michigan State this year.
So are we looking right now, like, let's prediction, it's Nick Marsh, Montorie Foster, and TJ Sheffield at the three, like those three receivers? Like, that's a great trio right there. Am I missing anybody?
I think Alante Brown might be back.
Yeah, you're right. Alante Brown, you're right.
Yeah.
So that's a good floor, right? That's good.
Obviously, I'm a big Nick Marsh fan. Shout out to Mama Tron, gem of a person. Just great family, great job raising that young man. He's such a talent, but he's, he cares and he wants to be here. And he did. What I really admire about Nick is that, he did everything the right way, like so respectful. Even when he decommitted, he stayed in touch with the staff the whole time. And he went through that process because he had to go through that process. That's what he told me, to know that Michigan State ultimately was the place for him, because he went out and he saw everything else and he knows that that's home. And even when the coaching staff changed, he was able to stay true because he already went through that process and he knew what it took. And Jonathan Smith came in right away and made sure he knew he was a priority. So.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to be a guy that's definitely going to be a big threat for us. And then, you talk about TJ Sheffield there, a guy in the slot position. I think, Ryan, you're 100% right. I think this is an under the radar pickup for the Spartans. He's a guy that, that's a dynamic player now. What do you do with a guy like that in the slot? Because I think you can move him around, in this offense. And, what are you going to do if he's in the slot? Are you going to slide a linebacker out to cover him? Or are you going to walk a safety down to cover him? Or are you going to play nickel defense? If you do that, you have lighter guys on the field, and now it opens up the run game. So the way that this offense is starting to shape up, it's something that's really special, and Spartan fans should be really excited about it. And I think, to your point, Ryan, that's an under the radar pickup. And I think that's a steal in this recruiting class.
And he's got experience as a returner too. So, he could also be somebody who makes an impact on special teams.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ryan, Austin, like, I know we're on receivers. Austin Clay, Cleveland, that's the land of Montorie from Cleveland as well.
Right.
Talk about him, because all-purpose yards out of Ohio, 1,600 all-purpose yards. And, I mean, you're all first team Ohio. That's a huge feat coming from the state of Ohio football-wise. But, like, talk about Austin Clay as a young freshman coming in.
Yeah, talk about an under-the-radar pickup. This was, a guy who they just offered late in the process earlier this month. He was another guy committed to a mag school, I believe Bowling Green. And, again, another guy who can make I don't know if he'll do it as a freshman or not, but throughout at some point in his career, he's a guy who can definitely be a dangerous returner. He's got good speed. He runs track too. He also plays basketball. I think he set a school record recently for steals in a game, and he ranks like in the top 3 in steals and assists in program history. But so he's kind of like an all-around athlete. He's a smaller guy, but I think he plays big. He told me he's got a big catch radius, which was interesting to me because he told me he was like 6 foot, 160 pounds. So I think he plays maybe bigger than he is, and he makes plays. And I think really, really good under the radar ad for Coach Hawk, who can develop him. And Coach Hawk's one of the best developers of wide receivers out there. Great, I think great choice by Coach Smith to bring him back. And I think it might take some development with him, but I think he's got a really good skill set. And I think those kind of guys kind of thrive in Jonathan Smith Lingard's offense. These under the radar guys that, might not be super highly recruited, they made super productive at Oregon State. So, definitely keep an eye on him in the future.
And this is a guy that you had a nice article on, by the way, Ryan, in Spartans Illustrated. We're going to try to get it up, a link to the article up in our chat right now for everyone to see. That there was a great article covering, Austin Clay and his commitment with Jonathan Smith and Courtney Hawkins, who just was retained. I mean, the news just broke about, less than a week ago that he was going to be still coaching the green and white as a receivers coach. So, I mean, it's awesome. Reading for you, and don't forget to go back to Spartans Illustrated. This is where you and David Harns, all those guys, you guys are working hard over there, tracking down these recruits, making personal relationships with them to understand where they're going to be going. And a lot of times they don't happen to come to Michigan State, but you still do the work that people, wish they could do. I mean, I think it's kind of a dream job. Tell us what it's like reaching out to all these kids all over the country.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, I'm only a little over a year into doing this role. I think I've learned a lot along the way. Big shout out to the other guys in my field who cover Michigan State, like Corey Robinson, Justin Thin, Jason Killip. Those guys have all been tremendous helping me out. But yeah, I think you mentioned it. For me, it's all about relationship building, right? Like, I think there are some people who might just want to reach out to kids kind of short with them, just want to get information, just try to get quotes, see what they're doing. For me, it's never been about that. It's always been about building a relationship, but like, I want them to be able to trust me to tell their story. And, a lot of recruits have told me that they really appreciate the way that I go about it and do that. And it is, it's not a job that's easy. It's a lot of hours. I've lost track of how many articles I've written this week alone, let alone in the last couple, because, they're on such a roll recruiting wise. But yeah, I mean, so for me, I hope that, people know when I reach out, it's always genuine. It's never just about what I'm trying to get for me. Obviously, I want the story and I want to, be able to tell that story for you, but I want people to know that, I'm here to help you, get known, to tell your story, to let you know. And, like you said, whether you commit to Michigan State or not, and, I built a relationship with you, I'm always here for you, whatever you need. If I can help one way or the other, like, that's what I'm here to do.
So, Ryan, me personally, I think I'm 3-0, maybe 4-0 on my crystal ball predictions.
Here we go with that.
When I do I'm not going to ask you for your number or anything like that, your percentage. But when I do my crystal ball prediction, I like to go off feel. What I read, what I see, how I see the guys, conduct themselves on social, how I see them move and everything like that. That's how I go off my crystal ball prediction. When you're looking at this to make a crystal ball, do you, if you do make a crystal ball prediction, what goes into that? Like, just from, in all seriousness, I'm joking around with my stuff, but like, in all seriousness, like outside, when people are making these crystal ball predictions, what goes into that? What are some of the formula that goes into making that prediction?
Honestly, yeah, I don't put in predictions myself. I'll drop hints in our message forum and stuff like that. And no, I don't, no shade to the people who do them. I think, that's good and that's good for them. But for me personally, it's kind of twofold why I don't like to do them. One, a lot of the recruits, a lot of the parents I've talked to don't necessarily like when that comes out before their announcement. Obviously some don't care as much and they give permission and whatnot, but others might care a little more. And then, and then the other reason too is just like recruiting is so fluid in this day and age with NIL, with the transfer portal, with everything, all the movement going around. So, but it is a feel thing for me. Like when I know a kid is going to commit, and I have hints about that or whatever, or I do. Like I said, it's about building trust. So a lot of times they'll tell me ahead of time that they are planning to commit, or they're going to, or that they're leaning heavy toward Michigan State or whatever it might be. I don't, like I said, I don't have any issue with people who do predictions or crystal balls or anything like that. I think they're great. They generate a lot of buzz, and some kids like them and like that extra attention, and some kids don't. And so I just kind of stay out of it.
Hey, Ryan, have you had, like, you talk to a lot of parents, you talk to a lot of recruits, but like, have you had the ones where you could be like, nah, man, like he's not a fit for Michigan State, or just period? Like, can you put a pinpoint on after having interaction, like, yeah, this guy's not a good guy or a good nugget? Like, have you had those instances?
I mean, it's happened, but I would honestly,
you can't be like putting that on like press release or talking bad.
Honestly,
yeah, which kid do you not like?
Yeah, like which one? It's like, avoid.
Honestly, what I will say is these high school kids, honestly, they impress me so much with just, not only how intelligent and mature they are, a lot of them, but just, I mean, you guys went through the recruiting process, right? So you would know better than me, but I couldn't imagine having that much pressure on me, having that, those kind of decisions to make, and every, especially for higher rated recruits who everybody's out there. But a lot of the times when I talk to these kids, I come away so impressed with, just how well that they grasp the situation that they're going through, and how they, like I said, are just so mature. I go back to Nick Marsh, just so much respect for the way he handled that process and how mature he is. But so many of these kids that are committed to Michigan State, they strike me the same way. I'm like, these are 16, 17, 18-year-old kids who, and they don't have it all figured out. Like, they have a lot to learn still, but they understand that, and they know what it takes to get where they want to go, and they know who's going to get them there. And that's, part of the stuff that they're figuring out. And of course, NIL and stuff like that factor into it too, nowadays. But, still, for the most part, what a lot of these kids are looking for are a connection, a fit, a staff that's going to develop them, just as much off the field, if not on the field, because not everybody's going to make it to the NFL. And I think, so again, yeah, I just walk away really impressed with a lot of interactions. Like I said, there have been some guys where I haven't had those feelings exactly for, but for the most part, most of these kids are more, in that line of thinking that I've interacted with.
And that's a great point. You brought up something earlier in our conversation, Ryan, that, what the best way to learn how to recruit rather is to get in the car and just drive 4 hours away and get those relationships with those high school coaches. That's what Jonathan Smith said at his press conference, and that's what he's been doing. When you look at the commitments that have come in over the last, 48, 72 hours, there's a big footprint. And I know a lot of this has to do with where they're from. But you see a running back, Brandon Tellis, out of Frisco, Texas. Andrew Brinson, an athlete out of Tampa, Florida. 2 recruits out of Hawaii. We touched on those guys earlier. Idaho, Washington, Missouri. It's a pretty big footprint, and, a lot of culture coming into East Lansing, led by the man in charge, Jonathan Smith. So tell us your feelings on how that will impact the locker room at Michigan State.
I think that they're bringing in guys too that they're making sure our character fits, our program fits. Andrew Brinson's a great kid from Florida. Blue Adams has the connections down there. But that whole defensive back room coming in with Brinson, Jalen Thompson, Keyshawn Williams, Justin Denson, like those guys are all Blue Adams. Just impressed them so much in a short period of time that they just all feel locked in. And all the kids I talked to throughout the different areas that they're all coming from, Tullis and Frazier coming from Texas. Like I said, they all have that same feeling that, they had that familiarity with the staff. So I think that they're bringing, they're targeting certain guys who they know are going to fit in no matter where they come from, no matter what their background are. So, I think that it's good to have a mix of different people, different backgrounds, coming from all over the, different all over the country. And, they all bring different skill sets. They're all bring something different to the table. They're all coming ready to work. So, I think that it's very calculated who they're bringing in. And I think, at least they think that these guys are all going to be great for the locker room, and, they'll see how they mesh eventually. So obviously going to be a little bit different once they actually get there and see how everybody kind of gels in. And some guys might be a little more outgoing. Some guys might be a little more quiet, but, these are all guys who they think are going to help them win, but they also are guys who they think are going to mesh well with the team and in the locker room.
Hey, Ryan, have you heard anything about certain guys that hit the portal from our past roster that possibly are leaning to come back? Like we talked about it on our show last show, like, hey, you hit the portal and you're not getting the love that you thought you deserved, or your value is not as high as you thought. But are you hearing any of those guys that hit the portal coming back, leaning to say, hey, I've met with the staff, I do want to give it a shot, let me get out the portal? Have you heard any of those rumblings?
I think that's something that the staff's done really well of. You've already seen a couple guys jump out of the portal and come back in. Other guys now that I'm still keeping an eye on who could come back are Zion Young, Derek Harmon, Jacoby Windman. I've heard that's on the table for those three and maybe some others. Like you said, the portal is, when you jump in there, you're taking a risk. There are more kids in the portal than there are spots available. So, but another thing Smith said after his intro presser was that, their first order of business was re-recruiting the current roster. Those guys, guys jumping in the portal, guys thinking jumping in the portal. Another thing that Smith preached was equal opportunity for everybody on the roster. He was a walk-on at Oregon State, right? He wasn't supposed to go on and be one of the program's all-time leading passers by the time he left. So I think him being that walk-on is what kind of built that blue-collar attitude he has, that chip on the shoulder. He's coming from Oregon State, so he knows all about being, the state school when there's another bigger school, rival in the state. So I don't think, maybe there were some guys who they prefer back more than others, but, I definitely think it's on the table. I definitely think they're open to it if the players are. So, there's a few guys who could come back. They might not. They might find other spots, but yeah, it's kind of, just what it is. They're going to try to build the best possible roster they can. And whether that means bringing guys back who were there previously or finding other guys in the portal, I think you can trust the staff to do that.
True.
Good stuff. I'm just looking in the chat here and seeing some stuff. Welcome, John Blair. And I see people talking about the woodshed. And Spartan Stadium being referred to as the woodshed. I remember me specifically the first time I heard Spartan Stadium being referred to as the woodshed was from Mad Dog Charlie Thornhill. He was the one that told me, hey, Spartan Stadium, that's the woodshed. And they had this little clip there that's like, no one comes into our house and pushes us around. Take them to the woodshed. And that's what that team's rally cry was. So when
that was internal though, not an external.
That was internal. That was something
mantra,
that was just among players was said. That was that's what they called Spartan Stadium amongst players. And obviously Mel came and brought it outward. So I was just going through the chat there and listening, looking at people saying there about the woodshed, and that's something that was an internal thing with the players, similar to Spartan Dawgs. That was a player thing only, and then it took a life on its own and got commercialized as well.
For now.
Yeah. Hey Ryan, with people want to know like future, like what do you believe is going to take for us to turn, quick? Like what is the expectation? So like everybody wants to win now. We know it's going to take some time, but what do you believe? Next year look like? What is next year like? Spring leading into fall, like, what do you feel like we should be seeing or expecting? Because we want to set expectations, but like I feel like we go quickly to like, oh, we about to be undefeated
playoffs,
playoffs versus
12 teams
what's the stack? I know what's the stacking like? What's the process of taking over a new system or new program and getting it back to where we were prominent? What are your feelings about that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, college football is a "what have you done for me lately" thing. So you become irrelevant pretty quickly in this landscape, and I think what you're looking for, in Smith's first year is, first of all, you want to see a team that's competitive. Even if they're losing games, are they close? Are they making it competitive? Can you see what the plan is by looking at that team? Can you see the vision? I think it reminds me in a lot of ways of Mark D'Antonio and the way that he built things in that blue-collar approach. And I think Jonathan Smith's the exact right person to do it because he took over a 1-11 program at Oregon State.
Mm-hmm.
He went 18-7 over the last 2 years. That's not an easy place to do that at.
Right.
He has much better resources at Michigan State. He has, he's bringing in the guys that he wants. It's, like you said, it's going to take some time. I don't think it's fair. I think people need to show patience, and that's hard to do as a football fan. But I think what you want to see next year, is at least a bowl game, 6-7 wins, something like that. And like I said, competitive, close losses, and something that's going to illustrate what the plan is, what the identity of the team, what the identity of the program under Smith's going to look like. I think that, it's very possible within 2 to 3 years with the expanded playoff, you see MSU competing for one of those 12 spots within a couple of years. I can't predict that. I can't say that now. But I think that, that's definitely within the realm of possibility because of the transfer portal and the way that, that they're going to think of, if they were able to recruit the way that they did in 3 weeks or less, think about what they're going to do when they have a full year to recruit a class and get their guys in. And like I said, people that you talk to about this staff, they said they know talent, they identify talent, and they develop it. So that's what, obviously that's what they're going to try to do in East Lansing. And, you don't know what's going to happen until it happens. But I think that it's very clear what they're going to do here. And I think it's very fair to think that, Smith is going to eventually return this team to, chasing championships. That's his goal, as he said multiple times, is that he's had, and that's was one of the driving factors that he took this job, is because he's had an urge to chase championships, and he feels like he can do that at Michigan State. And like I said, everybody I talked to says that he's authentic. He's as real as it gets. He's not like a bells and whistles guy. He just goes to work. And I think that that's the right, that's what Michigan State is all about, right? That's what the program is. That's what that blue collar thing, that they talk about. That's the identity of Michigan State football. So I think he's a perfect fit. I think he's the right guy to do it. Whether it comes to fruition or not, we'll find out. But I think there's a good chance that it will.
Hey, look, that's beautiful what you said there, especially about the recruiting piece, because, there's those out here on the West Coast that talk about, well, the only reason he was able to get the Michigan State job is because of DJ Uiagalelei that came over, the 5-star quarterback that was at Clemson that transferred over. Now, there's another way of looking at that, and you just touched on it right there. You said it. That guy, a 5-star quarterback, 2-year starter at Clemson, can go anywhere in the country. But he didn't just choose Corvallis, Oregon, because he threw a dart, literally. It's because of what this staff showed him. It's the plan, the vision that they laid out. And you're seeing that in a very short time with, the cards they've been dealt and they're putting together a class that's going to be respectable. But as you said, Ryan, can't wait to see what this staff can do over a season. We'll be able to build relationships around this Midwestern area and beyond, and put some product on the field. And you got guys like Aiden Childs and Nick Marsh, and a lot of other very important pieces that we're going to cover tomorrow on our show. But like we want to just thank you, number one, for being here today to tell us, man, like this has been great. And where can we find you again? Tell us your X/Twitter handle.
Yeah, it's at Ryan Obleness, RyanObleness. Obviously, you can find us at Spartans Rivals on Twitter too, SpartansIllustrated.com or MichiganState.rivals.com. We've been busy and we got the content flowing. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Ryan, gotta get that free subscription.
Right. I can make that happen.
All right. We appreciate you. Thank you, Ryan.
Keep up the good work.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for joining us.
So, Otis and Stray, I got a question for you. This is off topic. We were texting about this yesterday when we were watching the Eagles Seahawks game, and K9 was just cooking Kenneth Walker.
Do we have the video?
Like, do you think like if someone's from Wake Forest and they're watching that game, do you think like, oh yeah, that's our guy, or do you think?
No, it's our guy.
I feel like you take if I recruited him and I had some time with him at Wake Forest, I would say like both are taking credit. Like you gave some tutelage or some skill set and training to him, but like coming over here, clearly he flourished. I feel like both are taking credit. Both schools.
I don't know.
Credit. I think so.
I think it's different.
I don't think now.
You don't see Wake Forest putting on social media posts like, "Hey, our guy." I get it, but
so this is the thing. This is the thing. Like when I don't think you can take. I think it's the last stop that got But like so, a guy like Keon Coleman, like I don't know if we can claim him.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If he's in the league doing his thing, like, is he gonna be like, oh, that's a Michigan State guy, or that's a Florida State guy?
No,
both.
Or what does he say? What does he say on Sunday Night Football when he says Keon Coleman?
He's going to say high school in Louisiana. The Boo Baby. That's what he's going to say.
The Boo Baby.
He's going to say Pop Warner Squad. You know how I feel like Keon going to say something like that.
You know, the
University of Jesus.
The only person that says both schools is Russell Wilson.
He does.
He does. No.
He
says State in Wisconsin.
No, he says Wolfpack of Badgers.
Okay, both same thing. Okay, so to your point, Kenneth Walker left Wake Forest to come to Michigan State. He was virtually an unknown at Wake Forest, but let's be real about that. And when he came to Michigan State, he was put on the map.
Because then we played
Sam Hartman, the head coach Dave Clawson over at Wake Forest talked about Sam Hartman. He talked about this in a press conference recently.
Yeah.
Sam Hartman's a quarterback at Wake Forest, goes to Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's like, oh, forever Irish, and it kind of ticked him off because he felt like he developed them, and then they took him
twice.
Yeah, but Sam's stats, Wake Forest, Notre Dame, not the same. Same guy. K9, not the same dude. Not at all. And there's an argument out there, maybe, I guess, for people who don't really know the game about Keon. It's just Keon. He did get refined at Michigan State under Courtney Hawkins. And, looks like FSU featured him differently. That's it. But he did. Didn't he score against Michigan last year? Did he score against Ohio State the year before? Like he scored all against
I get it. I'm just asking a question. Like,
no, I'm not. This is to your point. That's all. I'm not even. That's how I think about it. I don't know. You guys can have your own opinion of it. People in the chat, right? Hawk is a guy. Izzo helped Keon. That's it. Izzo takes credit for Keon.
He's a two-sport player here.
Hey, I know Coach Izzo. If it wasn't for me. no. Hey, listen, I take nothing away from Tom Izzo, what he's been doing. But there was a comment earlier about Chew with an autistic child in the tunnel somewhere. I want to make sure
my
we get
guy
back to
John. It's John Blair.
Yeah, he referenced it, but I know that we put the comment on there. Look, Chew could easily. This is we talk about Chew's experiences.
Right
there, it is
different than some of the other guys because Chew always got a new pair of gloves, but when you give your gloves out, you jeopardize not getting new ones next week.
Bob Knickerbocker.
Yep, but Chew.
What happened to the gloves I gave you in 1993, Jason?
That's why I gave. Look, I always made it a point to.
Absolutely.
We talked about this. I went through 3 pairs of gloves a game. We're coming for warm-ups. After warm-ups, I would give my gloves to a kid. You know, I go in and get another pair. At halftime, I will give my gloves to a kid, and then after the game, I will give my gloves to a kid because, like, I love granting experiences for people, and that's the same thing with everyone on here. That's why when we do ticket giveaways and everything like that, it's giving these experiences to people that sometimes might not have those experiences. So the 3 pairs, Otis can't get over the 3 pairs of gloves. That's what,
bro. I'm out here got holes in my gloves, yo. Like, I can't.
Hey, let's just face it. Chew was on another level. That's all. He was on another level.
Like,
he still is.
Straight.
Ain't nothing changed.
Brother to brother to brother. Chew should be like, hey, let me hit you on game. Let me put you on game.
He didn't tell you nothing.
This, like, Montel Jordan, this is how we do.
Oh, I tried.
No, you did.
On game. You can lead a horse to water. Sometimes when they get there,
Chew's like,
I was so generous. I gave everything out to people. Hey, man, you want some too? Come on.
That's crazy, man. I told you, I didn't tell you guys, but this, I know we run along, but Mr. Nick was at Dan Henry's Christmas party, so I was able to go up to him, and I walked up and I said, "Hey, Mr. Nick, I got holes in my socks." He's like, "What the hell you want me to do?"
Is that what he said? You triggered him, man. Why you gonna trigger the man? He probably had PTSD just about that. People coming and asking for stuff. Man, I got holes in my gloves and my socks.
Steve Smith, quit spreading blasphemy out there. I appreciate it, Steve. You know, I do pride myself in the sport coat game there. Because you know what? Stray started that sport coat game. Stray used to have those suits back in the day.
Stray had that.
It was that time, different era.
Yeah.
That's when y'all was playing on sideline.
Stray had that shaft peacoat too.
Still got it. Oh yeah.
Steve Smith talking about Chew. Please sign my Steve. I told Steve, hey, let's meet up for drinks. Let's do that. Steve and I live like 20 minutes away from each other, but Steve be big timey people.
Oh, look at Steve. Look at him. Okay.
Back pedal.
Hey, he just shut it up. And he took, hey, Art, how you going to let him do you like that?
You got him going now.
$9.99, $99.99, get out here 100. No, 100. And we got to get a, this is
oh,
right now.
Man.
Hey.
Now I owe you a drink, Steve.
He just shut you up, didn't he?
I owe you a drink, Steve.
No, man. Guys, like, this has been a great show. Look, tomorrow, it's signing day. And it's Kat's birthday. By the way, we got that. Happy pre-birthday, early birthday, Kat. Well, I saw that. So tomorrow's her birthday, which is signing day, and my father's birthday, too, 12/20. Good people born on that day. Yeah. So we are going to have a signing day extravaganza. So it's going to be us. It's going to be after lunch. It's not going to be early in the morning when everybody else is going crazy. We're going to make sure everything is right. The paperwork is in, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to give some love, give the flowers to these young men and their families as they come on to East Lansing and embark on what it is to be a Spartan Dawg. It's going to be after lunch sometime. I don't know if it's going to be 1, 2, 3, but stay on the lookout on our social media platforms. All of them.
A video out there to remind
you. There might be a video from Chew. Just be on the lookout at the time, and we're going to go through the entire class.
Sparta fam.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fun.
Otis be like, man, put the phone down and do
The angle must be right. We don't want to look
right.
at the nose.
Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Every time I do it, I think about it. So this time I sat down because I was going to do it from the car.
If you're looking down.
Yeah, right.
It's a Blair Witch project on it.
Safety is at a premium here, But Otis, we're gonna maybe get if you tune in tomorrow, we may be able to even see Otis singing in that sweater that he has on right there, because he literally was just a few hours ago at a Christmas party. So there is video circulating around, Twitterverse or IG world. So we'll have that for you tomorrow as well. Guys, before we take off from here, final thoughts.
Great show. I wish we'd have had a conversation with him. They have to be long distance cousins, Ryan and Corey. I'm sorry, but they absolutely But they are. It's crazy to me. Like that
doppelgangers.
Like, yes, that's crazy. So
that's
honestly,
the business, man. The business gets you like that.
Ryan and Corey versus on This Is Spartan MSU.
Oh yeah, we gotta have them both, because I don't think people believe that they can be in the same room at the same time, right? That's
that'll be good. No, great show. I'm ready to celebrate. The guys that are going to sign on that dotted line. I know it's heavy thinking right now. Like, hey, people don't know their decision.
Exciting.
I know that's a lot of stress. It's exciting, but obviously picking the green and white, you're never going to go wrong. Never going to regret that. We're going to be waiting to welcome you all in open arms to the Spartan family. Those in the chat, please go search these guys. Follow them, hit up those DMs, show them all the love that we're supporting them, praying for them in this decision. This is a big decision for a young man in their future career. So I'm looking forward to celebrating all these guys tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Tomorrow's a big day, and celebrating these guys. Hopefully for us, right now with hee ha ha. Hopefully there's no flip on the other side there for us tomorrow, for us to be like, damn, we had them. But no, I think it's going to be good. Shout out to Coach Smith and his staff for hitting the ground running and trying to do what they can to turn this program around. Because sure as hell, everyone in this chat, all the Spartan nations definitely deserve something to cheer for in the fall, in Spartan Stadium and when the Spartans are on the field. So really excited about what's to come and really excited about the future of Spartan football going forward. And all we can do is continue to celebrate these kids that are going out there and doing everything that they can for us. And, and just rep the green and white with pride. There's going to be a lot of haters out there talking this, talking that, but all we can do is rep the green and white. And as Coach D'Antonio would say, we are who we are.
That's right. We are who we are. And hey, listen, I like who we are. And definitely many thanks, special thanks to Ryan Oblaness / Robinson and the fellows over at SpartansRival.com, MSU Rivals, MichiganState.Rivals.com. Ryan Oblaness, that's the guy who was on the show with us today. Definitely, look, exciting times, fellas. And, you never take any of these positions that these young men are in for granted. These are some of the most exciting times of their lives. They'll never forget this. So we don't want to ruin any of this. So we want to make sure that we honor these guys when they do and welcome them all into Spartan Nation with open arms. As Spartan Dawgs, that's the responsibility that we have as guys who played before you. And we can't wait to have you in our locker room and do things in Spartan Stadium in front of the fans, this passionate fan base that we can envision you doing, man. And so we're excited about it. Everybody's excited about it. And for Otis Wiley, Jehuu Caulcrick, I'm Jason Strayhorn. This is Spartan MSU. See you tomorrow. Have a good night. God bless you. And go green.
Go white.
This is Sparta MSU is a combined presentation of Playfly Sports Properties and Michigan State Sports Properties. The show is produced by Tony LaBarbera, Tony Gastella, and Process Driven Consulting. Additional support is provided by Brendan Duravage. On-location technical support provided by Good Fruit Video. Be sure to follow our host Jason Strayhorn, Jehuu Caulcrick, and Otis Wiley on social media. To stay up to date with all the latest This is Sparta news, please like and subscribe by visiting our link tree and tell a friend to do the same. Thank you for your support, and as always, go green.